The wife cheats on her husband for 25 years. Her husband discovers the secret, but it is too late. Hello, everyone. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's begin the video. Using a throwaway for obvious reasons with certain specifics modified to preserve anonymity. The story kicks off with relaxing on a yacht in Miami, looking genuinely content. Not long after, he's seen at a fashion show with his wife and their daughter Madison. It's obvious that he's a shoe designer, as all the models are rocking footwear he created. After the runway show, and Madison head to the dressing room where greets the fashion designer and her assistant, Ralph. At that moment, Madison tells her dad she's leaving because her husband, George, is waiting outside. She says her goodbyes to her mom and exits with George. Meanwhile, Ralph's friend and the assistant to the fashion designer tries to convince him not to retire, but makes it clear he's already made up his mind and thinks it's the right moment to step away. When Peter approaches, he says, "You know Ralph," and Ralph responds with, "Yeah." Then Peter tells him, "I'll leave you both to it and meet you at the restaurant to celebrate this milestone." A little later, finds himself at the restaurant where he's waiting, sits down, and they chat for a bit. He confesses that he loves the shoes she designs but isn't a fan of the fashion designer or Ralph. They pick their dishes from the menu, and Peter mentions that the restaurant serves some of the best fish in Miami, unlike any other place he knows. We find out that often travels to Miami to close deals with shoe stores. Then asks, "Have you ever thought about being with someone else besides me?" She responds, "No. I've spent more than half my life with you. My love for you has never waned, and I've never felt the need for anyone else." He tells her, "I love you so much that if I didn't, I'd have left you a long time ago." A few days later, tells him she's headed to Miami to settle some client accounts. She packs her bags and leaves, and 9 months go by. We see Peter cleaning out clothes from the house. At the same time, Madison visits him and finds him gathering her mom's belongings. He hands her a bag and says, "I don't want to see these anymore." She replies, "We're the same size, but I don't want them either." At that moment, Peter finds phone, takes it, and slips it into his desk drawer. Then Madison hands him a note that says, "Mom wanted you to have this." When he opens it, he sees Lake. That night, a voice message plays on his phone. When Peter listens, he hears a man saying, "I miss you so much. I haven't heard your voice in a long time, and I wish I could see you." Peter is stunned. He'd never imagined might have been unfaithful for so long. He leaves phone on her laptop and climbs into bed, but sleep won't come. His mind races as he goes back to the office to browse through the photos on her laptop. Most of them are family pictures, until he finds a file called Love. When he tries to open it, it's password protected. He guesses several passwords, but none work. As he scrolls through photos, he discovers images of with Ralph from the last fashion show. The pictures make it clear Ralph was very close to her. Then an email from someone named Ralph arrives. He urges to leave everything behind and come to him so they can rekindle their past romance. The next morning, Peter heads to the fashion house to confront Ralph. He asks point blank, "Were you involved with?" Ralph responds, "No, but I wish we were closer. You're not right for her. I don't understand why she loved or married you." The owner of the fashion house then tells Peter she knew had another man in her life but not Ralph. She doesn't know who it was. Peter leaves and visits Madison to tell her everything he's uncovered, but she refuses to believe him and snaps, "I won't let you speak that way about Mom." She makes a guest room for him to stay in, but after she leaves, Peter leaves too and heads back home. Later that day, Peter sends Ralph a message. "That woman you emailed, she no longer exists," and he hits send. The next morning at his office, Peter asks his secretary to call Joy, the company's cybersecurity expert, and bring her in immediately. When Joy arrives, he gives her the email address from Ralph's message and asks her to find out the name and address connected to it. She asks if Peter plans to track down the sender. He replies tersely, "Yes, to find and stop him." She promises to gather all the info. He stays at work until evening when he receives another email, this time from Ralph. Ralph writes that love never really ends and mentions all the memories they shared. He ends by saying he was happy responded to his earlier message. Peter then turns to the company's security chief, asking, "Where can I buy a gun? I need one." The chief refuses to tell him. Fearing he might do something drastic, Peter keeps trying different passwords to open's hidden folder. Finally, he types Lake, and it unlocks. He's stunned to find photos of with another man in Milan, images of their meetings at restaurants, lakeside, and in a hotel. It's unmistakable that had a secret relationship. As he gazes at the pictures, Ralph's name is revealed as the sender of the email, Ralph, 36, living in Milan. Peter arranges a flight there and checks into a hotel. He visits the building where Ralph lives, but the gate is locked. He waits outside until a resident opens the gate for him, then slips inside before it closes. He looks for Ralph's name among the mailboxes but doesn't find it up front, so he heads upstairs, waiting near the apartment, hoping Ralph will come out. Eventually, Ralph appears and Peter follows him to a nearby. Ralph goes in and Peter watches him but doesn't approach. Meanwhile, Madison starts worrying about her dad and calls him. No answer. Inside, Peter keeps flipping through photos of and Ralph, remembering how happy she looked with him that night. Come morning, Peter gets to the early again, sitting at the same table where Ralph usually plays chess, alone. Ralph arrives and joins the game and they start learning about each other. Ralph mentions that his mom is English and his dad is Spanish, and he loves visiting London and New York, though he doesn't stay long. During their game, Peter receives a message from Madison asking him to let her know he's okay. He then asks Ralph about his travels to England. Ralph explains he visited Cambridge and met a woman there, but he actually met her in Milan. She was a shoe designer, he recalls, and the first time he saw her, she was wearing stunning red shoes. Ralph says he was immediately captivated, and they started talking as if they'd known each other forever. Peter is hit with a punch of betrayal but keeps his composure, asking Ralph when that was. Ralph responds, 12 years ago. It hits Peter hard, he's deeply betrayed. He then asks, when was the last time you saw her? Ralph replies, 9 months ago, but I expect I'll see her again soon. Meanwhile, Madison and her husband check Peter's home but find him gone. Madison answers her phone after hearing Ralph's voice message, and she's stunned because she doubted her father's words about Ralph before. The following day, they meet again to play chess. This time, Peter asks if Ralph used to come to Milan frequently. Ralph confirms and shares a story about a day at a shoe factory where insisted on ending things, but he begged her to run away with him. They danced in front of factory workers that day, was so happy, she even got applause. Peter reminisces about the day returned from Milan, smiling and saying she missed him. He thought she'd grown to love him more, unaware she'd been unfaithful all along. He recalls her final words at that restaurant. Morning after morning, he'd asked her to pick somewhere she loved, and she'd write Lake on a piece of paper, giving it to Madison after her passing. As her health declined, Peter and Madison took turns caring for who ultimately died. We return to that moment, her passing away with Peter and Madison by her side. They grieve profoundly. Back in the present, Peter returns home to Cambridge, calls Madison for a meeting in London and confirms Ralph is there. He visits the pub Ralph used to frequent, inviting him to dinner in honor with friends and her fashion house owner. When Madison arrives, she sees Peter introduce Ralph as longtime friend, proudly standing beside her dad. Finally, at the train station, Peter and Madison wait for their train home. He tells her, Ralph isn't worth our revenge, and the movie ends. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for all the latest updates.